Hello, it's top of the hour and good to see you again on another live edition of VTV News. Here come our top stories. National Assembly Vice Chairperson Tam Thị Phóng attends the first Eurasian Women's Forum in St. Petersburg, Russia. Vietnam to address disproportionate poverty among ethnic groups. And efforts to preserve Mid-Autumn Festival activities. First up, National Assembly Vice Chairperson Tam Thị Phóng is attending the first Eurasian Women's Forum, which opened on Thursday in St. Petersburg, Russia. Over 700 delegates from legislative and executive bodies, scientific organizations, and non-governmental organizations across the world are joining the two-day event. The forum aims to highlight women's increasing role in all aspects of life. Speaking at the forum, Vice Chairperson Tam Thị Phóng said that for the past few decades, women have assumed a central role in resolving issues of mutual concern in Vietnam, and their rights have constantly been improved. As part of the forum's agenda, the senior Vietnamese politician will join discussions on women's role in the economy, global healthcare strategies, and humanitarian causes. Over the past decades, there have been huge improvements in the position of women in Vietnamese society. Over many years, the Vietnamese government has always attached importance to developing policies and programs to promote gender equality and women's rights. Vietnam has recorded good results in the Millennium Development Goals related to gender equality. More to follow.
The Vietnamese government has recorded some good results in terms of gender equality, according to the latest United Nations report. The country is regarded as one of the fastest countries to narrow the gender gap over the past 20 years. The government has adopted a range of policies to promote awareness about gender equality.
Since 1946, the Vietnamese government has issued legal documents regulating gender equality. The 2013 amended constitution marked the enhancement of promoting gender equality and empowering women.
I think Vietnam could be proud of the fact that you already have achieved parity in terms of basic education at the elementary level, and I think at the lower secondary level also. We also see that the number of women in a leadership position, if you look at it comparing with other countries, Vietnam still has a high rate of women's participation in politics.
Although Vietnam has achieved positive results in promoting gender equality, there are still some issues related to gender inequality. For example, sexism is seen as a major factor restricting women from playing even more significant roles in the communities and society.
Due to the prejudices about gender, Vietnamese women are duty-bound to take care of their families and children. Therefore, it prevents Vietnamese women from participating in society.
We need to provide women more opportunities to improve their knowledge and skills and encourage women to participate in management positions.
Gender equality is not just a basic right. Improving the role of women and facilitating women's development will improve the quality of life for individuals and the whole of the society.
The United Nations in Vietnam held a press conference yesterday morning ahead of the UN Summit on Sustainable Development. UN representatives in Vietnam presented 17 Sustainable Development Goals to be considered at this year's summit. Notable goals included poverty reduction, food sufficiency, social welfare, gender equality, and practical education. The UN summit will run for 2 days from September 25th to the 27th. This will be the biggest event of its kind since 2000 and part of the international organization's 70th anniversary.
Every single United Nations World
Vietnam has achieved the Poverty Reduction Millennium Development Goal. However, life in rural areas for people of ethnic groups still remains very challenging. To show the country's commitment towards poverty eradication, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng has issued a decree focusing on poverty reduction for ethnic people in Vietnam.
Giang Thị Như is one of the very first people to raise pigs in the region. Hmong people previously mainly focused on growing rice and corn. However, since they started raising pigs, annual incomes have increased by $1,500 to $1,700 than before.
We receive support from the local authorities to raise pigs. We participate in monthly classes that focus on techniques and sharing experiences. I don't know how to read, but through people's stories, I've learned a lot.
Hmong people make up 100% of Cham Do Commune's population. They have received support from the government through Program 30A. The program aims to present new ways of doing business to local people.
We encourage our members to raise cows, goats, and pigs besides growing corn and rice to help them escape poverty. We also provide health care for their children.
However, half of the 520 households in the region still live in poverty, with even the 52 households that have escaped poverty at risk of dipping below the poverty line.
Vietnam fulfilled this Millennium Development Goal. However, living standards are still very low in rural areas. In some regions, the poverty rate is more than 50%. Therefore, our role is to help the government issue policies that support people from ethnic background more effectively.
The government issued a decision on September the 10th, aiming to reduce the poverty rate from 3 to 4% annually. The United Nations has welcomed this new commitment.
This is an extremely important decision of the Prime Minister to have an accelerated action plan for ethnic minorities development. Focused attention will help in allocating resources, in allocating budget for the development.
With this decision, Vietnam will have the foundation to be listed among the top countries in terms of completing the UN's Sustainable Development Goals in the post-2015 period.
Moving on with some economic news, the General Statistics Office announced September's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, on Tuesday. September's CPI ranked 0.21% lower than in August and just 0.4% higher than in December 2014. This is the first time in 10 years September's CPI has been lower than the previous year.
The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, fall this month has been attributed to the declining price of 4 of 11 baskets of goods and services. The lower petrol price saw the price of transport decrease 3.17%. Gas prices dropped, electricity demand fell, and there was a slight decrease of food prices, which all helped drive down the CPI. However, education prices increased 1.24% due to the increased tuition fees. The price of medical services in some provinces also increased by 0.5% over the previous month. September's CPI is usually higher than the previous year due to its increasing consumer demand, but this year appears an exception.
This is the first time we have noted a lower CPI for September than the previous year. The Mid-Autumn Festival and the Vulan Festival take place at the same time this year, so it may cause a decrease in the demand of consumers. Also, the national holiday in September this year was shorter, so it may account for a decrease in spending.
According to the General Statistics Office, CPI will increase slightly from now until the end of this year if there is no adjustment in the pricing level and macroeconomic policies.
Now, to minimize the negative impact from global recessions, Vietnam should have better control of its financial markets and do more to improve productivity. These were some of the proposals made by international experts at a seminar held on Thursday in Hanoi. Held by the Konrad Adenauer Foundation and the Vietnam National University, the seminar focused on the economic adjustment after the 2008 financial crisis, as well as international experiences and further policy implications. experts at the event emphasized the need for Vietnam to improve monetary policies in light of its increasing global integration. Ho Chi Minh City's GDP in the first 9 months of this year is estimated at over $28.8 billion, the Municipal People's Committee announced at a conference on Thursday. This represents a 9.1% year-on-year growth, the highest in 3 years. Many economic indicators have shown positive development. For example, new and additional foreign direct investment totaled $3 billion, double last year's figure. Loans given to businesses rose by 8% year-on-year. However, the city's export turnover was down by nearly 6%. As the stock and bond markets in Vietnam underperform, bank loans are playing a much bigger role in raising capital compared to ASEAN countries such as Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Therefore, improving the effectiveness of credit programs continues to be a long-term task for Vietnam's banking sector.
In recent times, bank loans have focused on priority areas such as agriculture and rural development, high-tech businesses, and small and medium-sized enterprises. Flexible credit policies have provided good conditions for businesses to access loans, insiders claim.
After the 2008 financial crisis, both businesses and banks have faced many difficulties, so the government has come up with open, innovative policies to help business access loans. Our company has received loans at 6% per annum interest as part of a credit program for agro businesses operating with the same supply chain. This credit model offers lower interest rates and is more stable.
For the past year, the State Bank of Vietnam has pledged to support 19,000 businesses with credit programs. In fact, a number of programs linking banks with businesses or support rice producers through temporary storage of rice have proven successful. However, many enterprises have not accessed preferential loans.
Banks are very open in terms of the policies, but they face the challenge of finding businesses that operate efficiently. Banks obviously need to take into account the risk to themselves. When a bank lends to a business, it will have to coordinate closely with the company throughout the project. If the borrower does not cooperate, that creates risk for the bank.
As 2015 draws to an end and the socio-economic targets for the next 5 years are laid out, the State Bank of Vietnam has committed to supporting the business community through more credit programs and improved lending mechanism.
Coming up next on VTV News, Vietnamese high schools proactive in international integration. Later on, we'll take a look at the efforts to preserve Mid-Autumn Festival activities in Vietnam.
Exotic Vietnam is an intriguing blend of many charms. This land is where all manner of stunning landscapes await like a visual feast, rivaled only by the beauty of its people and their abundantly rich tradition and culture. Here is where you can relive the past in richest color or live it up in the bright lights of the big city. With so much more to offer, Vietnam is simply unforgettable.
Welcome back to VTV News, brought to you live from Hanoi. 12 high schools in 3 cities of Vietnam received the International School Award by British Council in Hanoi on Wednesday. This is an annual award that recognizes school success in guiding students to develop the skills and knowledge of a global citizen.
These are the cards exchanged between students of Lung Thầy Vinh High School and their friends in Indonesia and Malaysia. And this is a traditional Malaysian Baltic painting made by 3 Malaysian students on their visit to Yên Hòa High School. These are among many subjects displayed by the 12 high schools awarded the 2015 International School Award, recognizing their efforts in enhancing international activities for students.
We started with exchanging letters and emails with students in Malaysia, then meeting on Skype. In May, they came here to visit us. They taught us how to make their traditional Baltic paintings, and we taught them about Donghu and Hangzhou paintings.
The International School Award is a project launched by the British Council in thousands of schools across 30 countries worldwide. Arriving in Vietnam 2 years ago, the project has provided training for teachers of 90 schools nationwide. The program develops student skills and knowledge through lessons and activities in order to become global citizens.
My favorite activities is 3 most famous places of Vietnam, China, and England, because from that project I'll have a chance to know more about the Great Wall of China, about the Big Ben in England, and I get a chance to introduce our city hall to a foreigner, and I helped him, to get more knowledge about our city.
Besides learning more about other countries, students are taught essential life skills such as presentation, communication, self-study, and teamwork. These are the skills and knowledge needed for a global citizen.
It is good that global integration is now being carried out in each school for all teachers and students. This project connects Vietnamese students with international friends so they can gradually become global citizens.
The key element for the program's success is the strong commitment and great vision of the schools. They are very proactive and creative in diversifying the things students learn in the classroom without putting more pressure on teachers and students.
The 12 recipient schools of this year's award are located in Hanoi, Quảng Ninh, and Hải Phòng cities, 3 among the project's 5 member cities in Vietnam. Ngọc Lê from Vietnam Television, Hanoi.
A week of culture and tourism around terraced rice fields will be held from September 24th to the 26th in Hoàng Su Phi District, Hà Giang Province. The program will include a number of events, including a ceremony announcing the recognition of the Kia Hieng Festival of the Zhao ethnic people in Hoàng Su Phi as a national intangible cultural heritage, the worshipping ritual of the forest Jinny, a new rice worshipping ritual, and the Goat Hao Festival of the Hmong people in the district's Bao Hamlet. Visitors will have a chance to visit rice fields in the area and take part in traditional cultural and sports activities such as horse dances, love duet singing, swinging, and goat fighting. A seminar on cultural preservation and tourism development in Quảng Nam Central Province kicked off on Thursday morning in Hanoi. The event brought together domestic and foreign organizations to discuss and further cooperate in developing tourism in the region.
Community-based tourism used to be just a concept for the Cơ Tu people of Quảng Nam Province. But now, with support from authorities and organizations, they can make a living from this model.
We have implemented in the Katu minority people community-based tourism project. We could receive in the some customers from all over the world through this project. Not only income, but also their society is getting a very good impact.
This is the brocade weaving products of Cơ Tu people from Namsan district, which is funded by the FIDR of Japan. And such products do not only improve the livelihood of the people, but also preserve the culture as well as bring the community-based tourism of Vietnam to the world. The seminar on cultural preservation and tourism development attracted around 100 representatives across the country and abroad. One of the UN agencies, the International Labour Organizations, or ILO, has been provided jobs in training programs for people in the rural areas.
The Cơ Tu community has many unique characteristics, from costumes to cuisine and traditional dances. We want to conserve them even more. Through their work, they receive an income and at the same time show tourists the best picture of Vietnam's western region.
With the participations of domestic and foreign organizations, including UNESCO, Quảng Province is open to new opportunities in preserving its cultural heritage sites and developing socio-economically.
There is a very broad participatory approach from the very senior top authorities to the communities who are very active and have learned how to benefit from this assistance. I've been watching this for 6 years now. I'm very, very pleased to see the development of these activities in Quảng Nam province.
We have received support in culture and tourism integrating program, renovating old towers, renovating Hoi An old streets, and many community tourism activities.
Quảng Nam Province is home to the World Cultural Heritage Site of Hoi An and My Sơn Sanctuary. Moreover, mountainous and rural areas contain great potential for tourism development. The number of tourists to Quảng Nam increased over 12 times in 1990, from 300,000 tourists to more than 3.6 million in 2014.
Wood blocks of Buddhist scripture carvings being kept in pagodas in the central province of Thừa Thiên Huế are valuable heritages of the country. They reflect the history and culture of Buddhism in the region and in Vietnam. They also play an important role in researching the development of Vietnamese writings. We'll find out more about such wood blocks in the following report.
Built in the 19th century, Bảo Lâm Pagoda is home to 137 wood blocks, over 100 years old.
We are aware of the value of these wood blocks. We know how important it is to protect and preserve them for future generations.
Preliminary statistics shows that nearly 3,000 wood blocks are being kept in pagodas across Thừa Thiên Huế province. Buddhist scriptures were carved onto these wood blocks between the 18th and 20th century. All of them were made from high-quality wood.
These wood blocks have artistic, linguistic and cultural value. Therefore, we must protect and preserve them. They are not merely religious heritages, but heritages of the Vietnamese culture in general and Thừa Thiên Huế province in particular. These artifacts have been kept for 300 to 400 years. They are old now and require proper preservation techniques. We hope to receive funding to preserve these valuable heritages.
Recently, wood blocks of Buddhist sutras stored at Vĩnh Nghiêm Pagoda in Bắc Giang province were recognized by UNESCO as memory of the world heritages. This has motivated the Buddhist Sangha as well as provincial authorities in Thừa Thiên Huế province to strive to draw more attention to woodblock preservation.
As the Mid-Autumn Festival nears, various charity programs are being carried out for children across the country. The Bright Future Fund for Cancer Patients and the Vietnam Youth Federation on Thursday presented gifts to child cancer patients at the National Cancer Hospital in Hanoi. This annual event is aimed at bringing joy and motivating young cancer patients to overcome their illnesses. The Bright Future Fund for Cancer Patients was founded in 2011 to call upon the community support for low-income cancer patients and cancer research. Every Mid-Autumn Festival, the management of Hanoi's Old Quarter organizes activities at Kim Ngân Temple, an old preserved house at Ma Mei Street, and the Culture Center in Dao Duy Street.
This is where small children learn how to make traditional toys for the Mid-Autumn Festival.
I was taught how to make this kite. I think it's easy.
I learned how to make a star lantern today. I feel very happy because I was able to make such a complicated thing.
These products are made by the children under the instruction of a local artisan. A star lantern, paper kite, and toy. These objects are very familiar to generations of Vietnamese. They are part of Vietnamese folk art. For the past 10 years, every Mid-Autumn Festival has seen activities organized in Hanoi's Old Quarter to show these traditional ways of celebrating the event.
This is a good opportunity for small children to learn about folk games and tradition. When I spend time with my kids to make the lantern, I feel that we are closer. I feel very proud because I'm contributing to preserve this Vietnamese tradition. The number of students participating in this event keeps increasing every year. However, the sad thing is the number of experienced artisans is declining as they age.
The Mid-Autumn Festival activities will continue until September the 27th.
BTV News will now continue with some updates on the weather forecast. This just wrapped up this live edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for being with us. For more updates, please log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. For now, goodbye from Hanoi.